Welcome to another video in Project Pack number 8. My name is Rick.
Hi, I'm Maria. Look what you have done. Wait till you guys see this.
Okay, so here's one of the Zentangle white tiles, pre-strung, that we're going to play with. And I am using a tangle called Me Too, and it's spelled, how is it? What's it?
M-I, and then with like a squared.
And then, right, the number 2. So it's Mimi Lempart, CZT, created this tangle, and it's one of my favorites. And you can look it up on our newsletter and for the step out, and there's a step out in the app as well. And I think, maybe not.
It was the first really magical tangle, you know, that with a big surprise.
And so I'm sort of dividing this in half with Me Too. And the way I set it up is with these dots. And then go back in and use that like Vesica Pisces shape, and I'll just fill that in because it's going to create that sense of over and under. So first,
So if you don't know what a Vesica Pisces is, it's sort of like a marquee shape.
right, it's when two circles overlap with the radius of one on the center of the other. So that overlapping shape. Right, like a marquee. I never thought of that.
Marquee diamond, yeah.
So once I've defined those shapes, we will go in and fill those in. Again, I used a black pen and just took that liberty thinking that probably everybody would have a black pen, even though it's not included in the project pack.
Yeah, we would have had to add another, yeah.
So we'll finish all of those up, and I take my time. You're not trying to get it done quickly. You're enjoying each stroke, even the filling in strokes. This pre-strung tile has these repeating shapes, and so I'm going to work directly with them. And I'm going to outline these arcing shapes. Just work right there with that.
But follow along here because don't jump ahead. He's only doing it on half of the tile.
Right.
So
you'll see what's going on.
Yeah, don't jump ahead.
I'm going to aura that. And aura can be used as a really nice separator to give a sense of identity to the tangles that you put between two lines. So by auraing that, this next tangle is going to stand out just a little bit from those framing lines. And this is sort of an expanding shattuck. It's an expanding rounded shattuck. And it alternates one direction to the other using these auraing. And when I do that, I come off like a takeoff and then hit the other side at sort of 90 degrees. And that's my little mental guideline that I do each time. You can do it any way you want. Oftentimes you'll see this in straight lines. We were in the museum in Seoul, Korea, and the oldest pot that they had in this beautiful museum, this beautiful pottery display, right at the top was shattuck, the pattern, and just so beautiful. You see patterns everywhere and every when. So I'm going to define that or restate that line as well. And then all of this is just auraing. The thing that was so impressive about that piece of pottery in Korea was that, it was beauty for its own sake. It wasn't, the pot didn't hold water any better, and it just was this beautiful addition of making something beautiful for the purpose of making something beautiful. And a lot of that is what we're doing here. Just each stroke is just, think of it as adding beauty. So now I'm imagining, like, okay, where would that line be? How would it come down? And maybe I got it just perfect, or maybe I didn't, but the whole, the approach works. Okay, so I'm going to work on this other section. So first I'll define that. And in this section I'm going to do Knightsbridge. So I did a line down the middle, and then a line down the middle, sort of, on either side of that. And you'll notice I'm turning my tile in a way that fits the arc of how my hand would draw it. So it's like my hand is a compass with the point at my heel, and I'm just turning it around my heel of my hand. And then pick a square, fill it in, and remember, taking your time, turning your tile as you need to, want to. I find if I move in the same line as, in parallel with the line that I'm filling against, then that's the easiest for me.
This particular tangle deserves a pretty precise fill-in. Most of the time, it doesn't matter too much, but you'll see that the trick to Knightsbridge is to put that first black tile in, and then you want to have the corners kind of kissing, and that's how you can tell which should be black and which should be white. And it sounds so simplistic, except sometimes you get going behind things, and you lose. You think you know, and I don't know how many times I've screwed up on that, and
Yeah, so
there
do
he
each black space so the corner touches another one.
So he's using a little bit of doodah here.
Yeah, so Maria I think you came up with this right in the middle of a seminar once, and this is called doodah because it looks like a zipper.
So zippity doodah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
So for whatever.
for whatever.
Anyways, this is doodah, sort of going down into that little
It's a form of
space.
doodah.
Yeah. It's a part of it.
Tangulation.
It's a tangulation. Okay. So that's the black ink for one of those sections, and then you'll see I just repeated it on every other one and on that side. So now I'm going to the other side of the divider of Me Too, and I'm going to redo everything that we did in black and white using the colors. And so I am starting out with, what's the name of this one?
That's lavender.
This is the lavender. So again, I'm doing that initial stroke, and I'm auraing it. sort of defining that space in which I'm going to work. And in this case, I'm going to fill that whole area with a solid color because we're really enjoying playing with the layering of these jelly rolls. And a light touch, and you just sort of push the ink around, and it almost pools, and you can spread it. It's once you get used to the technique, it's really fun. So again, I'm going to define the other side here for my Knightsbridge. And in this one, I'm using...
the pale brown.
Is this the pale brown?
Yeah, the one with the cap that looks like it's light orange, it's called a pale brown.
Okay.
And the other one is...
Oh, that's the other one is the yellow ochre,
yellow
right?
ochre,
Yeah, so this is the pale
So
brown.
we're using the names of the colors that Sakura has designated them.
Right.
If you were going to purchase this
Right.
color, you would ask for pale brown.
Right. So I'm doing my Knightsbridge in the pale brown, and so I'm going to, again, start coloring in one of the squares there, or square-ish shape. So Knightsbridge is sort of like a checkerboard pattern, but unlike a checkerboard, it can be, all the lines can be curved, they can be sort of perpendicular, sort of not
Erratic.
perpendicular,
Yeah.
sort of erratic. And again, you pick the one that's catty corner, or has the corner touching.
So he first colored in that lavender color and let it dry while he was doing the Knightsbridge. And this was very important, so you need to remember to do that.
So I'm going back, and I think I'm using the blue-green.
Yeah, according to Sakura, this is the blue-green.
This is their blue-green moonlight.
It's almost like the teal in Zentangle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that layered really nice, nice contrast on that, sort of pops up.
Everybody got the same 5 colors in the project pack.
So just make sure that the underlaying color has dried nicely. That's pretty good. So I missed that one square there. So now in that Knightsbridge, I'm going to pick up my
Fresh green.
fresh green.
It's like a light olive.
And I'm going to go in and color in the other series of squares with the light green, fresh green. Those sort of work pretty nice together.
Unexpected things. The elegance of limits makes you, when you're limited to 5 colors, you start to be creative beyond what you would estimate,
Right.
which is kind of cool.
What was oh yeah, Klimt. So sort of inspired by some of Klimt's work, I'm going back over and aura-ing each of the squares with the color of the other square. So I'm going over the brown with the fresh green, and then I'll go back with the pale brown over the fresh green, and it just
Oh, it'd make a nice scarf. I like that pattern.
right, sort of like a scarf of Zentangle logos, right? And this is really fun to do. It's fun to feel and watch the colors go on top of other colors and just play with that. It was an unexpected pleasure.
Yeah, so we really wanted you to experience these colors in unusual ways, try things out and have some fun.
So again, I'm going to work with we're on a roll, on a jelly roll.
Yeah, we're on a jelly roll.
And
We don't eat sweets ordinarily, but
right. So we're going to do the solid color thing
in the
here.
pale brown.
Yep. And then make sure that dries. And I'm going back in with the lavender, and the contrast on this.
Is more obvious on your tile.
Yeah, it didn't show up as much, but it's part of the texture, and that was receding into the background there. And, it's part of, these were the choices we had. But you can still see like a texture there. So that sequence, and you can see the gap there, the white gap of the aura separating it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did the same thing in all of the other sections. And now I'm going back and just figuring out, okay, where those lines would have been. So when I transition from the black and white side to the colored side, I know what to do. Because I didn't want to anticipate where the color lines were going to be when I was doing that initially. So always picking the one that's adjacent, and where I'm coming up against that hole, I'm just leaving a little bit of aura. And then I'll go back and do a couple other things. Let's see. I had not done the corner to corner, and that's what happens. So I'm cheating here. A little bit of cheating.
No mistakes. So he's taking a white jelly roll and going over it.
So we get all of those in there. Again, just loving those pen strokes. Not trying to rush through this. Okay, looking pretty good. Oops, got one last place here. That happens to me a lot. I'll think I'm done, and then I'll turn it around, and there's one more aura, one more square.
Oh, you're imitating the Shattuck.
Right, pulling that through where it would have been. Just sort of going back and forth. Getting a feel for the arc. All right. So I think we've got all of our ink down. And now it's time to add some shading. So I'm going to start with the pencil and going to add shade to the Me Too. So in some ways this is like a reverse transcending tangle, where you've got two tangles, one on top of the other. And except I drew the transcending one, tangled the transcending one first. And if you go into the newsletters and look up transcending, or on the app, just do a search on transcending as a hashtag, you'll see some really, really cool stuff. So I'm just focusing on the black and white side for now. And again, I'm putting graphite down only where there's white, because you don't need graphite on the black. And now I'm going over to the colored side. And I'm playing around with the idea of just using the pencil as the tortillon. It's sort of like when I use a lot of times with the graphite, the white charcoal, I'll taper it out with itself instead of the tortillon. But you can try it both ways. So now I'm going in and doing the individual shading on each tangled section. And you'll see I'm just putting the graphite where there's white. And then on the color side.
So he wants that lavender and blue-green shattuck to pop up to the forefront.
Yeah, so you can start to see some three-dimensionality of how those shapes are, instead of just being flat, how they're actually shaped. Now I'm going back. Notice, turning the tile every time. Point the pencil or the tortillon, the point of it up against the edge that you want the most precise. Here, putting down a little bit of graphite around those forms within the tangle. And then we'll come back and look at how those just layer shingles or scales on a fish or who knows what.
It had a Eastern. I remember seeing it on the fabric of kimonos
In
and things
Japan
like
a
that.
lot,
Yeah,
yeah.
beautiful.
So turning your tile, light touch, circular motions. So rinse and repeat. I'm going to do that same approach on the side of the with the moonlight. And again, I'm using the pencil as its own tortillon. But the tortillon does give a good effect, so you can feel free to go in. And a lot of that is to experiment. We're experimenting with you with these new products in real time. And this was a really great adventure because it wasn't something that we would have said, oh, let's try this. It was offered to us by Sakura, would you like to explore these colors from a Zentangle perspective? And it was like, okay, challenge accepted. Let's see what we can do with this. So I'm playing with this like it's some sort of a funnel going down, adding to that three-dimensional shape there. And then again on the colored side.
Shading makes all the difference. It's like
right?
frosting on the cake.
It really is fun. So here I'm trying the tortillon, and it actually was, I think I'll keep using that. Put a little bit of highlights in there. I really like how that Knightsbridge worked out there. You can add some highlights on the black and white too. Just a little hint on the shattuck. Just do that all the way around. And again, I'm holding the pencil fairly low angle. Even on the black and white, it works. Okay. So I'm going back over with the micron just to increase the contrast there where the Me Too goes over and under. Just thickening that up just a little bit on both sides. So if when you're going over the Gelly Roll and the white charcoal and the graphite, the pen will pick up some of the bits of all of that, and the ink will stop flowing as nicely. So just like you see what
Just
I
clean
did
it
there.
off, yeah.
Just by using it, it just starts flowing again, and all those little bits just come out, and you've got your nice pen right back. Remember, you can always go back and add graphite, just to make it the transition a little bit more gradual. There we go.
Looks great.
That was fun,
What do we call that?
right? Reverse transcending. That's what I'm. So add your chop, share it on the app, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. And this is a lot of fun.
Have a great day.
Okay,
Have fun.
bye now.
Bye.